I heard the screen door slam, signaling Mom's venture towards work. I walked out on the porch with a cup of coffee and watched the thunderheads accumulate. There was going to be a good rain. Viscus came waddling over and sat on my foot, looking up at the thunderheads. Viscus always sat on his porch waiting for me to wake up. As soon as he heard my door shut, he was there. He tilted his head back, ears flopping. I laughed and scratched him behind the neck. I love that beagle dog. I made it to the general store just as the rain started to come down. I hopped up on the porch and Frenchie wasn't there yet. As I waited for him, I helped Buck. Viscus fell asleep beside Frenchie's chair. About lunchtime, I decided on a Mountain Dew in the porch. As I stepped out of the door, I saw Frenchie climbing the stairs. He didn't use the handrail. He didn't grope and feel his way up the steps. He took one step at a time, easily and meticulously. "Morning, Peanut," he said with a sigh. "Hey, Frenchie, where you been?" He let out a loud groan as he plopped down in the chair. "Peanut, could you go get me a red stripe?" He sounded tired, worn out. He reached down and pet Viscus behind the ears. "Morning, Pooch." I went back into the store, grabbed a red stripe from behind the counter, popped it open and set it in his hand. He slammed it with one giant gulp and let out a sigh. "Some mornings it's hard for a man to face the day. Those intermittent pains make you want to stay away." I couldn't sit on the edge of the porch because the rain battered me on the head. I pulled up a chair and sat beside him, watching him rock. I wouldn't swear to it, but I thought for sure that those white eyes were a little darker that morning. After some time of just rocking in silence, he sucked in a deep breath and looked over at me. "Do you believe in magic, Peanut?" Without letting me answer, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a dusty leather bag that fit in the palm of his hand. "Magic in its pure form. A diamond in the rough, yeah. Magic. Magic to keep the heart warm." His accent grew strong. It was the kind of voice that people deep in the bayou have. The kind of people that have never seen a city. They live their lives off the land. I was looking at a different face. A face drying with age. A face that knew it didn't have much longer on this dusty earth. And that voice made my stomach tighten. I tried to swallow. There was nothing there. "What is it?" My voice was barely above a whisper. Lightning rolled and cracked in the distance. A huge storm was coming. "Mojo! A true mojo, yeah!" His hand bounced the bag and something rattled. "What's in there?" "If I tell you the magic, it go away. I can tell you everything in here part of me. My soul is in there, yeah. Magic, Peanut. Never give up the magic. You know what I'm talking about. Puppy dog breath, a cup of coffee in the morning, the faint whistle of a train. There are things that make you feel good. Warm." "Can I have a mojo bag?" I asked. "One step ahead of me, Peanut." He sat back in his chair smiling. "Start looking. You know when you find the keeper of the magic, yeah. When you do, we talk about it some more." Mom found another boyfriend to occupy her time. "This one is going to be different," she told me as she packed a bag. The guy had a cabin in the woods with a river behind it. He invited us to stay for the weekend. "We'll be staying until Sunday night." 2 days. I knew what was coming. So I packed a book. Every time we went out on these little excursions with her boyfriends, Mom stayed latched to whomever it was for the weekend. I spent the entire time wandering around trying to entertain myself. At least this time we would be camping, fishing, and maybe even eating what we caught. John was his name, and he didn't get to the house until well after dark. The truck headlights bounced into the drive, and I heard a grinding of gravel as the truck came to a halt. I was sitting on the porch, Biscus sitting on my foot, tail thumping against my leg. Mom came dancing out of the house and jumped into his arms. He was holding a Lone Star beer, and some of it splashed on the ground. "Sorry, baby, JR tied me up at work. He wanted to talk about the new bar we're building. Damn fool brought a case of Lone Star, and we didn't get out the coffee till about a half hour ago. Hey, you must be Christoph. I'm John. How you doing? That's a firm grip you got there. Woo!" He talked a mile a minute, and his Texas accent made him sound like an inbred idiot to me. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. He was trying to shake my arm off, and I felt my whole body jiggle as he kept on talking and shaking my hand. His beer splashed out all over his hand and some on Biscus, who gave the man a soft woof and jogged back to his homestead. "Well, we all ready? Be pretty late when we get there. Okay, let's go. Christoph, you mind sitting in the back? Got a case of beer in the front, and only me and your mama can fit. Good. Well, let's go." I sat in the back with my head down, eyes burning. John was a construction worker, and the remnants of the last job he'd worked on were blowing into my eyes, my nose, and down my shirt. I really didn't like this guy. After about an hour of riding in this sawdust whirlwind, the truck came to a skidding halt, slamming me into the front of the bed as it did. "Hey, too dark to sit in the cabin. Let's go sit in the bank and build a fire. What do you say, Iggy? Come on, Christoph, let's go." John and Mom bounced down the hill to the river. I scraped sawdust out of my eyes and followed blindly. He got the fire going, talking about nothing important the entire time he did. They drank beer, and I watched the fire, knees up to my chin. I kept thinking of Frenchie as I stared at the fire. I could see the bag. What rattled inside that bag? Whatever it was magical. I wondered what I would put in my bag. Perhaps some of the coal from the fire. No, it didn't hold any meaning, and besides, it reminded me of John, and I hated that guy. I looked up from the coals, and through the dancing flames, I saw them kissing. They were twisting and turning as John gradually leaned Mom back. I walked up the hill, trying not to hear the sounds. Before I was out of earshot, I heard the noise. I ran up to the cabin. John had unlocked it before we went down to the river, and the door opened with a loud creak. As I walked through the dark kitchen, I could tell by the dusty mildew smell that John didn't visit his nest egg very often. I groped for the light switch and flicked it on. The cabin was a giant disarray of items. There were piles and piles of electrical cable cords strewn all over the floor like a giant dead snake that refused to rot. In one corner was a stack of Playboy magazines that stood about 4 feet high. The top one had the Marilyn Monroe pictorial in it. Beside the stack, covered in an inch of dust, was an old jukebox. There were barrels of golf balls standing beside old street lights. There was a dartboard on one side of the wall that had a picture of President Kennedy on it. There were millions of little dots in the dead president's face. Hanging from the ceiling was a busted disco ball. A spider had filled in the hole with its web. I went into another room, the bar room. There was a Corvette chassis on the floor. Most of the stuff in the bar room was covered with tarp, and I didn't want to look underneath. There had to be rats in there somewhere, and I wasn't too keen on hearing that loud squeak and something big scurry over my foot. I walked behind the bar and cautiously sorted through the various boxes. Most of it was junk, little trinkets that I really didn't find interesting. And then my hand came across it. Instantly, I knew what I had. I pulled the black velvet bag up to the dirty white light. It was 3 times as big as Frenchie's, about the same size as one of those Crown Royal bags. It was nothing elaborate. You could probably find one in any store. But this bag was in the middle of a cornucopia of lost items that were forgotten. It was empty, waiting for me. I just knew it, and I was going to take it. I stuffed the bag down the front of my pants and scurried out of the cabin. I closed the door and started to back down to the fire. Before I even got halfway, I saw the naked configuration. I turned and headed out into the woods where I'd be alone with the bag and fell asleep until I heard Mom call my name. The next morning, John took us home. He rambled on with the excuse he had a big business meeting he had forgot about, and the weekend would be cut short. Deep down, I knew that John just wanted to take Mom down there to have sex. And judging from her defeated face, I knew she knew it too.